I would like to call the February 12th, 2025 City Council regular meeting to order. Will anyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Carrie,
Present.
Chilson,
Present.
Hutchings. Here. Nelson,
He has an excused absence.
Parker. Wackler,
Present.
Kincaid.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda and consent agenda. May I have a motion to approve the agenda and consent agenda? Mr. Carey. May I have a second, please? Ms. Hutchings, thank you. Are there any changes to the agenda or consent agenda? Seeing none, would the clerk please read the consent agenda?
January 8, 2025 council meeting minutes as amended. January 22nd, 2025 council meeting minutes. Ordinance 2025-002, accepting grant funds from the Alaska Police Standards Council and increasing estimated revenues and appropriations by $11,445.02 in the general fund to attend the Alaska Law Enforcement Training Academy, sponsored by the city manager. Public hearing on February 26th. Ordinance 2025-003, increasing estimated revenues and appropriations by $10,000 in the general fund for a donation received from Deborah McCarthy, sponsored by the city manager. Public hearing on February 26th. Ordinance 2025-004, increasing estimated revenues and appropriations by $311,825 in the utility fund and the utility system capital improvements fund, and authorizing the city manager to execute sole source contract to Veolia in the amount of $265,000 and to Kachemak Electric Company in the amount of $18,478 for the wastewater treatment plant ultraviolet UV disinfection system upgrade project, sponsored by the city manager. Public hearing on February 26th. Resolution 2025-005, amending the FY25 authorized personnel staffing table to reclassify the regular part-time administrative assistant position allocated the Parks and Recreations departments to a regular full-time position, sponsored by the city manager. Action Memorandum 2025-001, request for an excused absence from the February 12th, 2025 regular city council meeting, requested by Nelson. That is your consent agenda.
Thank you. Are there any public comments on any of the items just read by the clerk? Anyone here in the audience wishing to speak on any item just read by the clerk? I'll take a look at Zoom and see no hands raised there. Having no one wishing to speak, the approval of the agenda and consent agenda is amended, as it isn't amended, it's back before the council. Any objections to approving the agenda and consent agenda? Seeing and hearing none, the agenda and consent agenda is approved by unanimous consent. Moving on to the next agenda item is public comments and presentations. Are there any members of the public who would like to speak on any item not appearing on the agenda? Anyone here in the audience wishing to speak on any item not appearing on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll take a look at Zoom, and there's no hands raised there. Next item on the agenda is Assembly and Legislative Report. Are there any representatives from the borough and or the state legislature that would like to address the council? Mr. Cox.
Hello, Tyson Cox, Assembly seat 4 for the Sedona area. Our last meeting, we didn't have a lot of things that I would particularly say would pertain to Sedona as something to say in here. Some things coming up. We did get a new assembly member. Leslie Morton is on there now. And there were 8 candidates. It actually went much quicker. I was prepared to be there for a while, but it went very quickly, only 1 round, and I think she'll do a good job. There were definitely several applicants that I think would have done a very good job on the assembly. The other thing is they did not have the tourism working group meeting today. I believe that was postponed for, I think the official answer was they're trying to get some information together. And so they will have the next meeting. I don't even know, it's not posted yet, so I'm not positive when the date is. Ms. Bauer may know what that date is because being on there. I don't know, I assume you may get the emails for that, but I know it's not until, I think it's next month, or is it at the end of this month? I'm not positive. The one thing I did want to bring to your attention is I've been working with Ryan Tunseth on a BSA resolution for this year. And so you guys will get a copy of that. It will be in the clerk's packet this next Tuesday. And I only mention that because I know you guys are pretty spread out for meetings too. If anyone is interested in looking at that or bringing one forward here, you're more than welcome to use that as a example. We did go a little bit different route this year on it. And this is because we wrote it, is partly my opinion, but my opinion is that it's going to take some compromise to get that to happen. And so they're going to have to all work together. I don't think anybody's going to get what they want, but hopefully we can get some sort of designation for our area here. And I know it's not per se a city item, but I do think it affects everyone. It affects our kids quite a bit. It affects the whole area. And then that's about it, unless you have any questions about anything at the borough.
Any questions for Mr. Cox?
I just looked, the meeting is February 26th at 2 PM.
Okay, so that would be, yep, the Wednesday after our Tuesday meeting. And I guess that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And if everyone will excuse me, I had fighting a cold last week and I just can't seem to get rid of the cough. So we'll continue on here to the next item on the agenda is public hearings, testimony limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Ordinance 2025-001, increasing estimated revenues and appropriations by $600 in the general fund for a donation received from the Soldotna Rotary Club, introduced by the city manager. May I have a motion to enact? Ms. Hutchings.
I make a motion to enact ordinance 2025-001, increasing estimated revenues and appropriations by $600 in the general fund for donation received from the Soldotna Rotary Club.
May I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Chilson. Now a report from the administration.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This donation supports the Creative Aging Pilot Program, and the program is designed to engage seniors in art creation in order to combat isolation and loneliness. And the use of funds, the librarian is here to speak to it if you have any questions.
Thank you. Moving on, are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this item? And that is ordinance 2025-001. I see no one here in the audience, and we'll take a look at Zoom. Again, there was no hands raised there. Having no one who wishes to speak, the item is back before the council. Are there any council comments? Seeing none, are there any objections to approval of ordinance 2025-001? Seeing none, the ordinance is approved. We'll move on to the next item on the agenda is new business, and those were all under the consent agenda. So moving on to the next one is mayor council comments. As I said, I've been fighting a cold and it doesn't seem to want to go away. I continue to lose this battle. Next week, Vice Mayor Parker, myself, and the city manager will be in Juneau for AML conference. I don't know if anyone else was attending.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. So there'll be 4 of us down there. Walked in here and looked a little different. Finally realized there's no pictures on the wall anymore other than some fine art, which is in some cases much better than looking at some of the pictures that we had up on the wall, which look more like mug shots for some of us. Very good, very nice looking stuff. I appreciate the Soul High School that students that put all those up there. And I know we have one of those students sitting right over here who has quite a few of them over there on that wall. Thank you very much and congratulations. So I have nothing further to say. Next item on the agenda is council reports. And we have the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting from Ms. Hutchings.
I went to the planning and zoning meeting. There were two things on the agenda. One was a conditional use permit to put in multiple housing at South Cobuck across from the study. P and Z denied it. Then there was a conditional use permit for two changes to a deck along the river, and that one they approved. And then they had spent a considerable time discussing the riverfront project, and I left after 45 minutes of that. So I don't know what all they came up with, but they were very busy discussing it. But again, there were not a full complement of board members, commission members there, which was a little sad. And that's all I've got.
To add to that, as you probably, most of you have seen the email that there has been an appeal on one of those items that was before the Planning and Zoning Commission. And it'll come to us as the Board of Adjustment on March 26th. So be prepared. And if anybody knows, anyone that'd be interested in sitting on the Planning and Zoning Commission, we do have one city vacancy available. Still. Next item on the report, on the agenda is City Manager's Report. Ms. Bauer.
Mr. Mayor, a couple of items. I had previously reported about the USDA funding for the field house, the equipment purchase for the flooring. We, as you know, with everything going on at the federal level, the pause, the unpause, and the uncertainty going on right now, USDA is examining what funds can be released and what cannot. We're still waiting for an answer from them. We have a meeting with them tomorrow at 11 where hopefully we'll get some answers. In the meantime, Kyle and his crew, his team have gone through the procurement necessary and required procurement process for flooring. And we will proceed with the procurement and a date still be determined. We want to hear information from USDA, but yet we have some deadlines as well. The funds, as you know, have already been appropriated for the equipment purchase. So I'll report back to you where we end up. We have several meetings tomorrow on that topic and our timeframes. So I'll report back at a later date and keep you informed on that. The Riverfront redevelopment project, there is a new website dedicated, I should say refreshed website dedicated to this project. So you can go to our website and link to there. And it really is geared towards definitely public facing to tell the story of the project itself. It lends itself to educate legislators and developers alike. And it's a really, it's done very well. Thank you to Laura Reiner for making that happen. I did want to thank Tyson for his work with the Tourism Committee. The resolution that passed at the borough level had language that about cities' participation and not overly clear about the language. And so therefore, perhaps cities didn't have the same voice as others on the committee, and Mr. Tyson worked on that, and we have the same voice, and I'm thankful for that. And those, I attended the first one, first meeting I attended was the last meeting. Previous to that, Linda Mitchell's been attending, and so we're kind of tag teaming it, and it's good to have these conversations. Not quite sure where we're going to go, but it is good to have these conversations. And that's all I have for this evening, unless there's any questions.
Isn't there a time limit on that commission? They have to have a report done by a certain time?
By April? By April.
Okay, so they're, okay, thank you. Any questions for the city manager? Seeing none, we'll move on to the next agenda item, which is public comments. Members of the public will have 3 minutes to comment. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment For those participating through Zoom, raise your hand if you would like to comment. App users by pressing the raise your hand button, and phone participants by dialing *9 on your telephone. Anyone here in the audience wishing to speak on public comments? Seeing none, we'll move to Zoom and take a look over there, and there is no hands raised. Moving on to the next agenda item, which is council comments. And we'll start out with Ms. Wackler.
Thank you, everybody. I just wanted to say, to reiterate what other people have said, absolutely love the new artwork, and I look forward to seeing it new kind of each time we come in. So thank you for that. Have a good weekend.
Ms. Kincaid.
Hi, I also really appreciate the artwork. I thought it was an amazing idea when I first heard about it, and I'm glad to be able to participate and put my own artwork in and see my classmates' artwork as well. For events going on at So High, last time I talked about our Little Sweethearts dance that we recently started in the past few years for our elementary feeder schools, and this year it was a huge success. I was not able to be able to go and to help out, but I heard it was great. A new So High tradition that we've started this year, well, not quite new, is our drive-in theater, drive-in movie that we are having tonight, and I'm hoping that'll be a success. It started a few minutes ago, so it looks like it's getting dark enough for it. Our talent show is happening in the next few weeks, February 21st at 6 p.m., showcasing our school's different talents, even with the Viewers' Choice Awards. And some artists will also be able to display their art that you'll be seeing here. The artist who made the artwork here will also have other artwork on display there. Emerson Kapp, as our district's representative for our school district, had the opportunity to go to Juneau recently, and she represented well and was able to speak on different things going on with our schools. For sports, our hockey team finished second at state recently at the Sports Center. Our cheer team went to a championship in the Valley and was able to get first in that championship. Skiing has their burros this week despite the lack of snow and has state coming up soon. And our basketball teams are traveling as always to the Valley this weekend. Our drama, debate, and forensics team has been going strong and has been winning different categories and will be having their state soon, I'm pretty sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hutchings.
No comments. Have a nice weekend.
Mr. Carey.
No comment.
Mr. Chilson.
No comments.
Vice Mayor Parker.
Well, I do have a few comments. Sometimes people say government moves slow. And I have to say, with respect to the artwork that we have in the chambers, thanks to the students at Soldotna High School, it was 6 weeks ago when a group of us got together and said, this would be a great idea. And here we are after less than a month from the art teachers getting this, that we actually have artwork on the wall. So sometimes government can move quickly, get things done. And this is just an added benefit to not only our council chambers, but to the community. And when I see the artwork that has been done by the students, I'm encouraged that our future is bright. I wanted to say thanks to CO. I had a great tour of the field house here recently, and that is going to be definitely, when that opens up, that is going to be a hopping place, and it'll be just such a wonderful asset to our community. And finally, for the council meeting on February 26th, I will not be here. And on the agenda will be a request for an excused absence for me. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to the next agenda item is executive session, and there is no reason for one this evening. Next one is meeting announcements, February 26, 2025, City Council meeting at 6 p.m. And having nothing further on our agenda, we are adjourned.